Hello everybody and welcome back to the MMO project where, fair warning, I'm doing live programming today. I don't know if that's a problem for people or not, but it's happening. So, the reason it's happening is because I'm lazy. That's the reason. Right there. It's already 1:11 and yeah, it's going to be necessary today. So, we're just going to get this out of the way. We are working on tile sets today. Now, I do want to say I have done a little bit of work off camera on our basic tile set. There's nothing hugely different, but I want to go over a few changes that I have made. There's one fundamental difference if I open up Blender here. You can also see I saved it to tilesets, basic tileset.blend. Now, I went through and put some basic materials on this. This is literally just a color. And I also reworked the bucket here, made it actually be round. But I also added in a shore tile, which I actually didn't rename to tile shore. Excellent. And I also redid most of these terrain tiles. You may notice they're slightly larger. They are indeed. They are now 3x3 tiles, and I decided to do this for the purposes primarily of positioning things and pathfinding. This just makes it a little bit easier for us to work with them. I made these in the same technique, so just with the loop cuts, and it's all basically the same thing. But I did remove the long ramp. I've decided we're not going to go that way, but instead we are going to have a wide ramp and a narrow ramp like that. We've added in a shoreline, and underneath the water here, if I go into face select mode and hide this, you can see there is full shoreline there. We will be utilizing that, and I've also modeled it in such a way where that's all connected together. I'm not sure how relevant that is, but that is a thing that I have done. I've also added in a structure here. That is a structure bridge. And if we move this to be... These are actually not in line with these. And I'm actually going to kind of move everything down by 0.5 because setting it equal to 3 means that we are slightly off. We're also going to move it over on the x-axis port by 0.5. We can set that up as needed in prefabs a little bit later on, but we're also going to grab this up by 0.5 and over by 0.5, just so that we're actually in grid here. So the reason that I did this and increased the size of these tiles was, of course, so that we can simply do something like -4 here. And then in the case of some certain tiles, like, here's the thing. I wanted to be able to do something like this, where it is pathfindable in a little bit more modular of a way. So we're going to not pathfind from tile to tile, but rather from subtile to subtile, and each of these will be marked as walkable or not, occupied or not, things like that. Excellent. So then we could potentially, if we have a bit of a forest right on the shoreline, we could have something that looks kind of like this. Of course, we'd want to have multiple meshes for our doodads, multiple variants there, but I also modeled the bridge in such a way where if we were to move this over here, we probably don't want to start the bridge there, but it could, in theory, operate as a road. I'm just going to move this over 1, though. And you can see it just kind of slots right in there. There's a little bit of a lip there. I did that on purpose to prevent Z-fighting when we're over the terrain here. And then the bridge itself is modular and can be tiled out like that, so we can pretty easily set up a bridge. And there's some Z-fighting over here, but I'm not too concerned about that. But we can also utilize the bridge on the cliffs. If we take this up over here, we'll take this over -8, and we'll just bring this up 0.8. It works just fine out of the box on the cliff as well. Wonderful. So, that's the idea there. So obviously, we're going to need to have a representation of this in the client as well as in the server. And that's going to be interesting. We're already being... Actually, this tile ramp wide can be deleted. That does not need to be there. we're already in a position here where we are needing several things to be able to properly represent this. We're already getting a seed from the server, so that is absolutely fine. Let's just hop into our client here. And let's see here, in the representation in the map, we already get our seed from the server. Now, we're going to actually have to use random, the C# random here, rather than the Unity random, because I think they're implemented differently. And we want to be outputting exactly the same thing on the client and the server. So we're going to do a public random, like that. And that is going to be using not Unity engine.random. I want this to instead be using the C# random, and I'm not sure what namespace that is in. Let's pop into the server and see if we can find it. That is in system.random. Okay, so we want to use system.random. There we go. Because we want this to output consistently the same outputs as it does on the server. When we set our seed here, we should go ahead and initialize this random. So random equals new system.random, rather, and we will put in as our seed, of course, seed. And by reinitializing it every time we receive the seed here, we are going to be making sure that we're starting at the beginning of it, because we're going to be needing to call random.next, etc., etc. So that's going to make it so that we can do that. And keep in mind, we only get the seed from the server when the seed changes. So this will only create a new random when the seed changes, which should only be in theory when we're creating a new map. Although, can we set random dot seed or random dot reset, anything like this? Is there anything in here? No, we'll just have to create a new one. There's no method for that. Okay. There's probably a way around it, but there's not a built-in one. So we'll just leave it like that for now. Now then, let's go ahead and change this Tilesets here. Or rather, we're going to leave this as an enum, but we're going to create a reference to a few pre-made tilesets. So first things first, let's go ahead and create ourselves a C# script, and we'll do this in representation scripts. We'll create a C# script, and we'll call this tileset. Excellent. And that did not open. We'll just go ahead and open it here. We shouldn't need any of this information for right now. Okay, so let me think here. How do I want to structure this? I want to structure this in such a way where the tilesets are going to be largely interchangeable, but we're going to make this be a public abstract class tileset. It will derive from mono behavior. And I think we're going to go ahead and make ourselves a new folder here for tilesets, because we'll have our base class and then we'll have all of our other ones. Yeah. So let's go ahead and reopen tilesets here. Wonderful. So let's do something along the lines of public. This will need to be potentially a list or an array. I think we'll have this be a list. I prefer to use lists generally. We'll have this be a list of tiles. Unity engine.tilemaps. No, we're going to be using tile here. And of course, we will need a base class for that. So we'll create a folder here, and we'll call this tile. Actually, now that I think about it, we'll not create that folder. We will instead just go in here and create tile. Okay. So we've got a public list of tile, and we will call this... How about elevation transition tiles? And these will be essentially, if I pull this over, these would be these guys. any tile that is all about transitioning between two particular elevations, well, from one to another, because we don't want, at this point anyway, two elevation transitions. So this would be elevation transition tiles, and this would be land. Equals new list of tiles. Okay. And then we would want to have a public list of tiles. This would be elevation. Actually, this would be shore tiles equals new list tile. Because we can have similar variations for our shore as we have here, right? This doesn't have to just be straight. And in fact, we could, if I put in a loop cut here, it doesn't want a loop cut through here. We can't do it quickly. I'll probably do it off camera, but we could very easily just cut through here and make some variations like we did here. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and do it. So we'll do a cut there, we'll do a cut there, and a cut there, we'll do a cut there, and a cut there, and a cut there. And then we will simply remove these 6 faces, like that. Then we'll make additional faces, and actually, we might as well remove the shore ones underneath as well. There we go. Okay, so these would then come directly outward. These would need to be extruded like this, and then we would have this come into this same position, which is a Y position of 0.25. Wonderful. And then we'll just go ahead and do something like this. Now we have no shore tiles underneath, so we'll just pop underneath here and create those real quick. Is this in the correct color? I believe it is not. We'll set that after. So we'll just do these. And something like that. Excellent. We'll hop into face select, select all those, set them to tan. Wonderful. So that should all connect in directly right up here, and indeed it does. Wonderful. And we'll do the same thing right over here, where we will simply have these faces connect in, and once again we're going to have to set them to tan. Looks like they are currently set to probably green. I'm colorblind though, so yeah, that's green. I'm not that colorblind, just a little colorblind. Okay, so we'll go ahead and make that be tan. Wonderful. Okay, so that gives us the mesh work that we need to create these variations. So all we need to do here is grab these edges, and in fact this will be easier to do from top view wireframe, and then we just grab these edges like this, and then ungrab any of these edges over here. There we go. And we can just set this to be whatever we want. And in fact, the best way to do this, I think, would be for now to hide these faces. Actually, minus these faces. So I want to just hide these water faces. I'm doing that with H. Excellent. And then I think we want to just grab something like this. Or maybe just these would do the trick. Yeah, that would work. Okay, so we can just create these quite easily. I'll just do it something like this. And these will just be a couple of different shore variations. This will just jut out a little bit more and then come back in kind of like that. I want to smooth out this corner a little bit. And then if we Alt-H to bring that back, it's still seamless. Wonderful. We'll make a couple more variants of this, just really quickly. And we'll just go ahead and hide this again. And I don't care about these over here. So we'll do that, and then we'll duplicate that and move that over there so that we can have it automatically hidden. Wonderful. This time I want it to come out this direction. And then maybe just kind of wobble around a little bit. Something kind of like this. Where it's mostly straight. And then we'll just go ahead and Alt-H. Wonderful. And then this one over here, we will make this one into almost a little bit more of a peninsula. Do something kind of like this. I'd prefer not to pass this line, if at all possible. So I will not pass that line. This one, though, this one will come back a little bit. Just make it look a little bit more uneven. Okay, so that gets us a few water variations, and our shorelines are no longer anywhere near as straight. These are still pretty straight, but honestly, that can be pretty much done the same way. Like, we can put in a loop cut there, there, and there, and then we can just grab this edge, and we can position this wherever we want it to, and just make it a little bit more uneven. But it's still, you know, more climbable than this. I think I don't like that for right now, though, so I'm going to put this back, and I'll tackle making that look a little more natural later on. I'm just not super happy with how that was looking. But this is fine, and this is fine. And then, I mean, this looks really straight. There's no doubt about that. And this needs to be at just 7, I believe. Oh, right. I actually did not do that because I moved these back to give this cliff just a little bit of incline to it. And that's something that will probably help this pretty dramatically. We just moved these back about, what, 0.1 was that? I think that was 0.1. On the y-axis here, it is at 3.6. Yes. So if we move this back over, then you can see it's seamless, but it straightens out pretty dramatically. We could, in theory, just put a loop cut there, and then do something like that. Just to make it, you know, more even with this. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with that for now. So let's hop back over here. We've got our elevation transition tiles land. I hate the name of this list. We'll just call these cliff tiles. Okay. So we'll also do a public list tile, and we'll call this our ramp tiles equals new list tile. We'll do a public list. This is more going to be a tile decoration, which we don't yet have, and we'll call that doodads equals a new list of tile decorations, and we'll also do a public list tile structure. We'll call that structures equals new list tile structure. Okay. So, obviously tile structure and tile decoration don't exist yet, so let's create those. Tile decoration, that's not how you spell, decoration, there we go. Yes. And now we will do a tile structure. Wonderful. So let's just create ourselves an empty here, and we'll call this the basic tile set. And we'll create ourselves a folder here, and we'll call this tile sets. And then we'll create ourselves a folder here, and we'll call this basic tile set. Excellent. I'm actually going to move the mesh here out of here, and we'll put this into, we don't need the blend 1 for right now. We'll place this into basic tile set here, and we'll just get rid of the tile sets folder. That is no longer necessary. We're now moving that to over here. And then we'll create a folder, and we'll call this meshes. And that'll just go right in there. Excellent. And then in here, we're going to put on a Tileset script, which apparently isn't existing. I don't know why. Oh, the script class can't be abstract. Fine. We'll just have it be a non-abstract class. We'll derive from it anyway. But yeah, that makes total sense. So the reason that we're going to derive from it is because we're going to have some things available for variable scripting. So we're going to place this at 0, 0, 0. There we go. Realistically, we no longer need to have our basic input catcher. Or, well, we probably will need it, but I'm just going to disable it for now. And now our basic tile set here, we are going to go ahead and hop into our meshes, and we're going to put that in right here. Okay, excellent. So you can see that we've got some normal issues. Yeah, I kind of expected that. I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. We'll just fire open Blender here. And let's see here. If I'm trying to remember where in 2.8 they hide the backface culling option. I know it's in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure it should be in viewport overlays. That's face orientation there. Which I guess shows us where the back faces are, so I guess that works. Yeah. Blue is regular and, or blue is correct and red is back face. So we'll just do this and we will, I forget how to do this. Flip normals. Okay, there we go. Simple enough. Now we'll need to check underneath here. Hang on a moment. Where are our variants? I do believe this is in the channel MMO. This is in the sandbox, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, that's fine. We'll save that there, and then I will pull that out of the sandbox in just a moment. So let's go ahead and turn on our face orientation here. And we'll flip these around. Actually, we'll just do recalculate normals. That should do the trick. Yeah, and we'll just verify that that does the trick. So we'll recalculate these normals. Fantastic. These are facing the wrong way, though. We want these to be facing towards the water. So we're just going to flip those. Excellent. That should be correct now. And then we will go ahead and grab those. We'll flip those as well. These should be facing all interior, or rather not interior. They should be facing the opposite direction. So we'll flip those as well. Wonderful. And then this here, we should grab all of those parts as well as these over here and just flip those around. Wonderful. Okay. Now the tree here, I'm just going to select and recalculate. That looks good. The well, I'm going to do the same thing. Recalculate. That looks like that got it correct. Excellent. And the bridge, the same thing. F3, recalculate. Wonderful. That appears to all be correct now. So let's just go ahead and turn off the face orientation view. We'll save that, and of course this is saved in the sandbox. So let me see if I can browse over to the sandbox here. We'll just move that over. That's in my game projects folder in the sandbox folder under Tilesets. Here we go. Okay, we'll close this so that I don't make that mistake again. We will show this in Explorer. Wonderful. We'll hop in over here and we'll just overwrite this. We'll let that load in. Wonderful. So we can see that these are all here. They're quite a bit darker than we expect. Oh, hello. This still has that hidden one. Apparently that didn't get deleted. in this version. There we go. Problem solved. Okay. So here we have our basic tile set here. Some of these are not... Oh, okay. They're not completely flat up top, apparently. So we need to check that here. So all of these vertices down here should be at exactly... We'll just scale that 0, and we'll set this to -0.8. All of these up here... Not you. Not you. Should be at scale 0 and a z of 0. Apparently I missed an axis when we were doing this. Scale 0 and a height of 0. If we go underneath, then we will grab all of these. Scale 0 and a height of -0.8. I don't want there to be any height variation right now. Scale Z of 0.8. I don't know why I said Z. I'm not Canadian. And then we will do that. Excellent. And place that at 0. That should solve that problem. Excellent. Now, as I was saying, these are appearing much darker than we expect them to. And these actually have a height issue as well, which we do not want. I'm going to make sure that we only have one tile set open here and that it's the correct one. So I'll just reopen that. Excellent. Okay, so we'll grab these here, scale that 0, -0.2 is a height that those are supposed to be at, I believe. Yes, indeed. Sadly, it doesn't really want to do a loop grab, so we'll scale that down to 0, -0.2. Wonderful. And the same thing over here, -0.2. Okay. There we go. Now that's correct. Wonderful. So yeah, these are considerably darker than we should be expecting them to be. And I think that's because of the materials here, but I'm just going to compensate for that right now by turning up our light in Unity to be something along the lines of, I don't know, maybe 6. It's definitely overbearing on the specularity. We can just grab these materials here. Actually, we can't modify these. Let's go into our basic tile set here, and we will create ourselves a folder, and we'll call this Materials. And we'll create ourselves a material here, and this will be green light. And we'll just place this in everywhere where we have the light green material right now, which is each of these locations. Something like that. This is actually the dark green material here, so we don't utilize that. So let's just go ahead and make this a nice light green, and we'll just turn down our... do something like this, and we'll have this be, say, 128. I think that's still too light. Maybe about 100. Still a little too light. Maybe about 75. Yeah, that'll do. We'll turn that smoothness all the way down for now, but we'll set this to an albedo alpha. I don't want this to be metallic at all. And now the cat is going absolutely nuts at the door, so I will be right back. I gotta let her in. Okay, I do apologize for that, but what the cat wants, the cat gets. So, next we are going to create another material here. Actually, we're just going to duplicate this material, and we're going to call this gray light. Excellent. And we're just going to make this be about this nice gray color. Why did... Okay. I'm a moron. I didn't change the duplicate one, I changed the original one. That's, I guess, fine. As far as the light gray material goes... Oh, and by the way, this sort of materialing here, this is not going to be final. I'm just doing it right now because it's quick. The light gray should go here, as well as here. Excellent. And now we're going to need to create another material here, and we will call this... I guess we'll call this Cliff. And that's going to also be completely smooth, no albedo alpha, or we'll go to albedo alpha, and we may want to have this be specular workflow instead of metallic workflow. Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, we'll go ahead and bring this down to a nice dark gray, maybe something around 40, 40, 40. That'll do. Then we'll put this in here. Now, obviously, we currently have a bit of an issue with our ambient light, as in we don't have much for ambient light. Let's go ahead and make our directional light be our sun source. And I'd like to turn up the... indirect lighting a bit, but we'll just leave it like that for now, I guess. That'll have to do. Okay, let's go ahead and create ourselves another material here quick. And we're going to call this the shore material. And the shore material will come in right here, and right here. And this will, of course, be also specular workflow, albedo alpha. And we will have this be somewhere around here or so. Maybe a little darker than this, actually. Yeah, something around along the lines of that. Okay. We'll now create a new material, and we'll call this wood. Also specular and albedo alpha. We will assign that here, as well as here. Excellent. And then this will just simply be something along the lines of a darkish brown. Kind of like that should do. Excellent. Now this here I did have be this gray color as well, this light gray. And this down below is a dark gray. Excellent. And then we just finally need to... Oh, I did not turn off the smoothness on that. There we go. I didn't turn off the smoothness on this one either. There. And then we'll create one more material here, and this will be our water material. Now this one, we are going to have there be smoothness on. We'll place it there, there, and there. We still want this to be specular workflow and specular alpha, but we will go ahead and make it be transparent, and we will just turn down its transparency a little bit, down to, say, something kind of like 128, and then we'll just have it be kind of a waterish color. The specularity there is a little overbearing, there's no doubt about that. And I'd like it to be a little bit more opaque than that. Maybe around 200. Yeah, that'll do. And we'll just turn our smoothness to be something around 0.8. Okay. Down here it looks good. Up here, not so much. Maybe we just completely turn the specularity off? Maybe. I mean, the problem here, of course... And multiply is not what we want at all. We want to render... Do we want to render back faces? Maybe we do on water for right now anyway. And then we can just try to Yeah, we can just get rid of the smoothness for right now. The specular color we could have just be black. Then we can just darken this to make it look slightly better from the top. There we go. That'll do for now. And I'm not going to have this actually be both. I'm going to have this be only front face. There we go. Excellent. Now if we tile this, we're going to... I'm just going to duplicate this just to show what I'm talking about here. We're going to have this artifact here. That's well understood, and we will deal with that a little bit later on. Okay, so we've got our basic tile set here, and now we need to make ourselves some prefabs here. So we're going to create a prefabs folder, and we'll create ourselves a folder for each of our categories. We'll do cliffs, we'll do ramps, we'll do not a script. We're going to make ourselves a folder here, and we will do, let's see, cliffs, ramps, shores. We will do a folder here for decorations. I was going to call it doodads, but we'll call it decorations. And we will also create one for structures. Now, the difference between a doodad and a structure is a doodad will block movement to a location, whereas a structure may enable movement in a location. So let's just hop over here, and let's see here. I called this doodads. We'll change this to decorations. And then we will also do a public tile base tile. Excellent. So in theory, every tile that is in this list is equivalent and can be pulled at random. So that's the idea there. So if we hop into our tile set here, then our base tile should of course be tile base, which we can go ahead and put into our prefabs folder here. In fact, we are going to need to unpack this. There we go. And we'll put tile base in here. I want to make sure that this is exactly at -90. And I also want to go into our mesh here, because a lot of these do not have applied transforms. So we want to go ahead and apply the rotation, if any, and scale. I don't want to apply position because I want this position to be exactly as it is currently, with the exception of these. For these, I want the origin to be brought up to be ground level. That is going to be slightly interesting to do. We're just going to move our 3D cursor to the correct location for that. Okay, and then we'll set the Z at 0. Okay, and then we will go ahead and set origin to the 3D cursor. There we go. And we'll do the same thing over here. This is at a Y of 4. So we'll set that origin to the 3D cursor as well. And the same thing over here. This should be at a Y of 8. So we'll set that origin to the 3D cursor as well. There we go. That kind of broke things. That's to be expected. And we are just going to bring this back in, like so. Of course, that got rid of our materials, but we will set those up again in just a moment. So let's go ahead and unpack this prefab. Wonderful. So we've got our tile base here, and we're going to need to make sure that that's set up. It is, so we'll get rid of that. I also kind of want to rename these from doodad to decoration, as well as the well here. Decoration. Excellent. Okay, so we've got our tile base here. Let's go ahead and do our cliffs real quick. Let's hop over to our materials and make sure that our materials are correctly set up. So we'll do something like this. Excellent. All of these will then be moved into our prefabs under cliffs. So we'll do that now. Apparently we have to do that one at a time. How rude. Okay, and we will make sure that all of these are set to a position of 0, 0, 0. And we'll set this at -90. Excellent. I also want to make sure that the... this is the wrong scale. Excellent. Okay, that all looks good. And it kind of doesn't matter what we name them, so that's fine. We'll now get rid of those. And these are all technically water, but I based it off of this mesh, so I never actually renamed them. So we'll head back over into shores, and we will put our water over here. Of course, we have not yet done our materials for these. So we'll do so. Water, water, water. Shore, shore, shore. Green, green, green. Excellent. We'll go into our prefabs, we'll go into our shores, and we'll do 1, 3, and 4, apparently. And we'll get rid of those. This is just our first very basic tile set. We can make more complicated ones a little bit later on, but this is just setting up for it. I doubt that we're actually going to do anything with it this episode, though, because this is kind of getting lengthy. But we can go into our ramps here, and we've got our... Actually, we're going to still need to be in our materials. We're going to hop over here. This is going to be green and cliff. It's going to be cliff and green. Excellent. Now both of these can go into ramps, so our ramp narrow and our ramp wide, and those will have different gameplay characteristics in terms of their walkability, but they will not actually have any difference in terms of how the map generator looks at them. Okay, let's do our structure next. So all we're going to need there is the gray light material. And then that's meshes. We need to be in prefabs, structures. We'll toss in structure, bridge. Excellent. Then we will do our decorations over here. Of course, we do need to put on those materials. So that'll be wood down below. And then a dark green. I'm going to duplicate green light here. And we're going to call this green dark. We're just going to cut this value in half here. Well, about as half as we can. 37. Okay. That'll do. So we'll head into our decoration here, and the pine tree will go there. And the well will also need its materials. We'll do a light gray there as well as there. We'll do a dark gray at the bottom. We will need a new material. We'll call that black, and that will be a black material. We'll want to make sure that there's no specularity to it. We'll also change it over to albedo alpha. That is not very black, is it? That is not very black at all. Like, I want it to just be pure black. I mean, we can take it to Universal Render Pipeline Unlit. And now it's just going to be black. Sure. We'll also assign wood over here. And then we'll call that good for now. So we will hop over to our prefabs in our decoration. And we'll put this in right there. Excellent. So here's our basic tile set here. And we'll put this prefab in right there. So we'll just, I don't know exactly how we're going to utilize all of this. We might just use this as a data class for figuring out what to instantiate. That's probably what we're going to do. We're probably never going to instantiate this basic preset here, but we can definitely start putting in some of these things. So it's base tile. Let's go ahead and lock this. its base tile would be tile base, which it apparently doesn't seem to be able to grab from it just being a prefab. I guess we'll make an instance of the prefab, and then we will hop in here. Oh, of course. It's because we didn't actually put tile on them. Like, we didn't put the script on. That's going to be slightly awkward, to be sure. I guess the easiest way to do it would probably be to just go through here and add in tile like this. Okay, so all of these would get tile added to them. There we go. All of these would get tile decoration added to them. These would be tiles in the ramps. The shores would also be tiles, so we'll add tile to those. Wonderful. And then the structures would be tile structure. Okay, now this should work as I expected it to. So we'll go ahead and lock the basic tile set here, and we'll head into our prefabs. Tile base should be able to be assigned here. Yes, indeed. Cliff tiles, we'll just grab all three of these and plop them in like that. Decorations, we'll plop them in like this. I typoed decorations in the script, apparently. Let's fix that, because we're going to have to redo it. Decorations. There we go. So, as expected, we need to redo our decorations. Wonderful. Next, we will go to shores. There we go. And then we'll do tiles, which I guess is just, well, ramp tiles. There we go. And then finally, structures. And we may support a few more things a little bit later on, but for now, that's what we'll have there. So there's our basic data structure for what our tile set will consist of, and how it will, to some degree, grab some of these things. We haven't done any coding really in it, but that is something for the next episode, I think. So, we didn't really finish tile sets, but we'll say that this is like tile set creation, and next will be tile set utilization? Perhaps? Sure, we'll go with that. For now, though, I'm going to put a cut in here, and next episode, we are going to continue work on our tile sets. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.